preview video as well. So definitely check that out. All right. Let's get down to the business of the NFL. Not a good Sunday. I thought this was their worst loss. The Ravens lose games. All teams lose games except for Kansas City, apparently. But all teams lose games, have good losses, bad loss. This definitely goes under the category of bad loss. There's a lot of things that were revealed on Sunday that caused the problem. So Brownies win it 29-24 over the Ravens in Cleveland. So the Brownies were successful in winning this game 29-24. A lot wrong here. Defense it's not getting it done. Defense not getting it done. Defense really not playing well. I kind of had given the defense a little bit of grace. I think some of the numbers were a bit skewed, I think, frankly, because they're scoring so many points. Teams were throwing more. And so, yes, that was bad on Sunday. That was bad. Zach Orr has a lot to answer for on defense. Offense, too. I think the offense, they scored 24 points. I thought some of the play calling, decision making was terrible on offense. Todd Monken, John Harbaugh, etc. I thought some of the play calling was just unnecessary as well. Offensive line, I don't think was nearly as good either. They got pushed around pretty good. So let's talk about it here. Lamar Jackson. All right, so we got that graphic fixed there. It was Lamar was 23 for 38, 298 yards, 2 TDs. Again, Lamar wasn't the problem. I would say this wasn't his best outing. I think there was drops by the receivers. I thought this was the worst thing for the receivers as well. So there was drops, 23 38. It could have been 27 or 28 or 29. There was like 4 or 5 of those I thought that were drops or bad drops for him. I do think he was missing a few more throws than usual. I think it was because a lot of the day he was under pressure. But Lamar, he was probably the only reason they were even in this game, as good as he was there. Derrick Henry, 11 carries, 73 yards. Derrick Henry probably is going to be at the 1,000-yard mark here in this next game. Derrick Henry's a beast. I think a little bit underutilized. I think I agree with that assessment as well. They seem to want to throw the ball more. They're still having trouble on this right side running the ball. I think people are not noticing. People keep saying Rosengarten and Falele are not great over there on that side. Rosengarten, I think, is a work in progress. I think he's a young guy. I think he's kind of hot and cold. Falele, I don't know what you want me to say about Falele. People keep saying that he's playing better. I think maybe slightly, but they were shoved around really good in this game. I think the whole line too. I thought this was the worst line for the whole line. Even in the bad games that the right side has, I don't think this was Stanley or Linderbaum or any of their best game in this one as well. So I thought the whole line was shoved around. I thought Henry was pretty good as well. Henry, this is like the third game I've seen somebody tried to tackle him and they went off on the stretcher. This guy's just a freak of nature how strong he is. Zay Flowers was supposed to be banged up, and he had 7 receptions for 115. Definitely, clearly now, not Mark Andrews, the focal point of the passing game. Clearly, I definitely can stamp it. He's your number one receiver. Definitely, clearly on his way to 1,000 yards, I think, this season. We haven't a lot of those guys get 1,000 yards, so they're definitely going to keep throwing the ball. Flowers can stay healthy. He was at practice, I think, today. So good for him. Boy, oh boy, Kyle Hamilton. I thought he was fantastic on Sunday, except for obviously that last play where he could have ended the game with a Jameis Winston interception. He must have had it in his hand 2-3 times. Just looked like nerves, didn't reel it in. And on the very next play, they throw it and they get the win. So I thought Kyle was terrific. I can't really say that I have any beef with Kyle Hamilton on Sunday. He was really, really good, except for that one play I thought the secondary was bad. I'm really like to see Bo Braid and Sanusi Kane in at safety. Marcus hasn't been really good this year at all. I don't know what else happened as far as the benching. Some people said Harbaugh was mad because of an interview. He declined to talk to Jeff Rebeck today. I don't know all the circumstances. That I know this. He hasn't been playing particularly well. Eddie Jackson, I thought was really bad on Sunday. I mean, they replaced him with Eddie Jackson, and he didn't do well. So Kyle Hamilton, I thought Kyle Hamilton was really good as well. I think he's been one of the bright spots on the defense this season. This is unacceptable. 27 for 41, 334. Jameis Winston. Winston was a third stringer last year. Didn't play at all so far this year. This is squarely on defense. I mean, they had at least talk about Lamar having drops. I mean, they dropped 4 or 5 interceptions they could have had. And it just didn't happen. They just dropped. Kyle Hamilton dropped 1. Eddie Jackson dropped like 2 or 3. Now, some of it was they did not have Marlon Humphrey and they didn't have Nate Wickens, and that showed. And so I think they're going to get, though, they should be getting those guys back this week, but that's still not going to get it. I think the secondary not getting it done. Pass rush, definitely not getting it done. Oweh, Matabuke need to show up. You're making too much money not to show up. Allow a game like this to happen. That's just unacceptable of Matabuke and Oweh especially. Roquan needs to be better too. I think they're stopping the run, though. They're stopping the run. I mean, Nick Chubb, 16 carries, 52 yards. That's not bad. I mean, Nick Chubb's pretty good. Still kind of working his way in, but they gave up 80 yards on the ground. The run defense isn't terrible as well. They seem to be able to stop the run regardless of the circumstances around it. But I thought Chubb was actually decent in this game. Tillman, I think, was the recipient of the touchdown at the end. I thought they had a pretty – I thought he had some big plays. I'm still not sold on him, Tillman. I think he's got some potential, but I think he kind of is what he is. You know, just a second receiver, maybe third receiver right now, getting a good opportunity with Amari Cooper traded, getting a good opportunity, you know, to maybe show what he could do. Browns defense, I think Grant Delpit, was their best one on the field. He had 9 tackles, some big hits, even on Henry. I thought that was impressive as well. So I thought Grant Delpit really looked good as well. They really got pushed at the line of scrimmage. They really pushed the Ravens around, I thought, at the line of scrimmage. So definitely I thought the Browns did a good job up front. I thought that's where I think they won the football game. They were pushing the Ravens around on both sides of the ball. I think that mattered. And they were able to capitalize on some of the Ravens' errors as well. Just death by 1,000 cuts. Tucker missing the long field goal, penalties, Linderbaum, Stanley, lots of penalties on the offensive line. Didn't want to win it. I kind of said that in instant reaction. Didn't want to win it. Didn't deserve to win it. Didn't deserve to win it, period. So Ravens and the Browns, I thought worse, I thought, performance by far for the Ravens this year as well. Made some changes. We'll talk about the new receiver that we got here. Definitely made some changes. I thought both coordinators, though, were a stinker on Sunday. Zach Orr is, I don't know after this season. I don't think he's going to get fired in the middle of this season, but clearly there's issues on defense. Over and over, you see it where guys are just not lined up properly. Not in there with a call. Roquan is sending him. I saw the Brian Baldinger film, sending people to a spot they don't know where to go. Guys with their hands up, plays running behind them, guys running behind them. Secondary also to not line up where you're supposed to be, lacking aggression, lacking that thunder, not really, really pushing the envelope. It was wild. The most blitz I saw Sunday was at the end. right? At the end of Jameis Winston, you figure that's where you'd be more conservative. You have a bit of a lead. You're blitzing the whole time. They figured it out. They figured out the blitz. Dan Olszewski, if you watch that, check that out on ESPN, where he broke that down. Strange. Bad all the way around on Sunday. I think it was. I thought that was terrible play calling, terrible execution by the defense, fault all the way around for that one. But we got another one this week in M&T. So the Ravens are back at home against, that is right for Denver, 5-3 Broncos. The Broncos are 5-3. So good for them. Same Ravens, same record as the Ravens. They're definitely second place, obviously, in the West. But I think this is really a surprise for me. I mean, this is a team I think had the largest cap hit in NFL history with getting rid of Russell Wilson. So they couldn't do anything really to improve their team except get Bo Nix and just hope for the best. And, hey, Sean Payton has gotten them in a position here to have 6 wins in the first 9 games. So shout out to them as well. Lamar Jackson, I still think he's definitely in the MVP conversation. I thought last week he wasn't at his very best, but I thought he was really good. I think they're going to try and stay away from Pat Surtain this week, but I definitely think they're going to be throwing for a lot of points this week. I definitely think they can horse race these guys out. I think Lamar, outstanding, 17 TDs, 2 interceptions. That's just phenomenal start to the season. Didn't miss practice today. John Harbaugh did say it was just a day of rest. You look at Derrick Henry. We question whether we're going to get running backs over 1,000 yards here. Haven't had one in a while. We're going to have one on Sunday for sure with Derrick Henry reaching the 1,000-yard mark. He's at 946 now, 145 carries. People are just making business decisions in the end zone with him offering, we're not even going to bother trying to tackle this guy. We're not even going to bother doing it. So 8 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. Outstanding. Definitely the new number 1 receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, even despite what they did this week. Zay Flowers wasn't supposed to play. Focusing on him, they're getting the ball down the field a lot with Zay Flowers. Other receivers kind of struggled on Sunday. I think he was the bright light. Andrews was good, and I thought Zay Flowers was good. But Bateman kind of struggled with drops. Aguilar drops. I think Flowers is terrific. I think the only reason probably why he's not more nationally known, he's still young. He's still really short, obviously. But I think I like his build too. He's kind of like solidly built. Not quite in a Tyreek Hill, but I think he can get to that where he can absorb hits, absorb contact. You can't just, he's small, but you can't really just push him off routes and stuff like that like you can with smaller receivers. Kyle Hamilton, 32 tackles, 1 sack. I think he's been their best. I don't think he's been quite as good as last year, but I think he's really, really close to the form. Really like Hamilton on Sunday for the most part, outside of those drop pick. I thought Hamilton got sacks, was in coverage, knocking the ball down. That was more what you see like Kyle Hamilton at his best. That Swiss Army knife, a lot of different things all at once. That is his strength as well. So good stuff, I thought, by Kyle Hamilton. Definitely going to need it against Bo Nix. You got a rookie quarterback, so you're surely going to try and confuse him. Nix, 8 TDs, 5 interceptions, 130 yards passing. Some people call him Baby Breeze with Sean. I absolutely think Sean Payton was going to pick him. A lot of it is going to be short, accurate stuff, quick out the ball, hand. Easy for me to say. Ball quick out of his hand, rather. There you go. Ball quick out of his hand. A lot of short, accurate stuff. Been managing the game. Not a lot of 300-plus yard games. Ravens, with their secondary guys, should be putting pressure on him to go ahead and do things. A lot of short, intermediate stuff. Got to be better in the intermediate area. Going to go against Bo Nix. Javonte Williams is their leading rusher. 90 carries, 345 yards. He's solid. Not overly. I think that's about it. I don't think, certainly not at the level of a Derrick Henry, but certainly a guy You have to pay attention to, especially in between the tackles, really solidly built guy, straight line stuff as well, kind of similar like a Brian Robinson for the Commanders as well. So definitely keep that in mind. Cortland Sutton is the number one receiver, I guess, probably by default. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think like he's the prototype if you look at a receiver. So like he's one of these guys, if you're casting a movie and you want to cast a all-world receiver type, it's Cortland Sutton. His production on the field has just never matched it. I think he's a bit inconsistent as a receiver. I think he's a bit overstated. I think he looks great at times, but too often a great receiver is not out of the game as much as I've seen Cortland Sutton out of the game. Just he has too many stretches where he's just invisible to be an outstanding receiver. Marlon Humphrey and Stevens, I think, should be able to do a good job on him on Sunday. He's their main guy. Patrick Surtain, I think, might be the best cornerback in the league. You could argue them or Hot Sauce Gardner, 3 interceptions. Definitely, I think this is where you want to stay away from. Not a lot of names on the Denver defense as well, but this is the one. I think this is the main guy. I think he's been terrific this season. I think he is the best man-to-man cover guy in the league. That's saying a lot right now with all this zone. I think him and Trent McDuffie, I think, are the best man-to-man. I think Hot Sauce, I think, might be the best, period. But I think he it's a multiple of things with him. But like man-to-man, chest-to-chest, I think Surtain, I think, is probably the best one there as well. All right, Sunday, X Factor. We're going to put the X on the newest Raven, Deontay Johnson. It's funny. All these years, they go trade deadline and make an addition. It's defense, 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 defense. And all these years now we need defense. Defenses struggle, and they finally get an A-plus wide receiver in Deontay Johnson, former Steeler. I think he was the number one receiver for a couple of years there. I think this is excellent. Matter of fact, let's even go over the trade here real quick since we're talking about Deontay Johnson. So they agreed in principle to a trade with the Carolina Panthers for Deontay Johnson, pending a physical. It was announced on Tuesday. Physical went fine. He was at practice. The Ravens sent a 5th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers for a 6th-round pick as well in Deontay Johnson. Okay, so basically they give up nothing for Deontay Johnson. He doesn't have a contract at the end of the year, so he's free. He'll probably leave, I would assume. I'd assume that they're going to let him go. So heard the other day, Shefty made a great point. You sign Deontay Johnson, and probably next year another team is going to sign him. You're going to get a compensation pick because you lose him free agency. So you get another pick. So you're actually adding a pick by actually getting the guy here. The 5th and the 6th round pick also too is a great move because the 5th and the 6th is a great move because look, the Ravens are a good team, right? People, I think it's like 18 spots right now, but Carolina is very bad, right? So you're finishing, You're finishing like 30th, or you go to the AFC Championship game, go to a wild card round or Super Bowl or anything like that. How far away is that pick? You might be like losing 5 spots, 6 spots, if that. Sometimes, so depending on how many compensation picks are there in that round. So interesting to see what happens there as well. So Deontay Johnson, the newest Raven. I was just going to say Eddie Jackson, but the safety situation, you got to really look at that. I don't know what's going on. I said Marcus Williams was benched last Sunday. Really didn't speak to anybody this week. Didn't speak to Jeff Zrebeck, anybody. I honestly don't think he was high-handing guys. I honestly think probably it was by design. He probably just didn't want to get in trouble. Word is he got in trouble for speaking to a reporter. I don't know that. Eddie Jackson, I think, really struggled coverage. He had a Darius well there. What do you do with Kyle Hamilton? They've been kind of moving him back and forth. So they're going to get better. Safeties have to get better Also, another factor as well, IR for Michael Pierce. He's got injured this week. Also, Michael Pierce was injured this week on the injury report. Brent Irvin, we're still finding out about that. Yeah, so there's a lot of injuries on the line. So keep that in mind as well. So we will see Sunday at 1 o'clock after the game. Definitely. I'm hoping to do an instant reaction this week. Like I said, a lot of stuff going on here, but I'll probably be there for the instant reaction on Sunday after the game.